we seeing in the data this year and what kind of trends are coming to the surface. You know, we rolled out of 2025, had to think about what year we're in now, all of us, right? We had a record year. We processed over $100 billion in sales in the US market last year, and that trend has continued. We've had a fantastic first 6 months of the year. We set another record, both in terms of dollars processed and transactions processed, over $58 billion in sales, 100 million transactions in the first 6 months of the year. So there is no letting up on the demand for travel. People are getting out there and traveling despite all the craziness that's going on in the world right now. You know, there's still significant demand for travel. We're at a corporate travel convention. Corporate travel is up as well. That's up roughly 10% year over year, so we're excited to see that. My area that's responsible for distribution-related functions, the omni-channel solutions portfolio, a lot of focus on NDC in the industry. We're seeing tremendous growth, continued growth in NDC adoption, almost 22%, bumping up against 22% of our total sales are now coming through that NDC channel, so that's significant. And bringing it back to corporate again, we're seeing solid year-over-year growth in corporate adoption of NDC as well. We're amazingly resilient, right? Again, despite everything that's going on, there's still a significant demand for travel. Data is king. Data is the new gold, right? That's the new oil. And you know, we are really hyper-focused on providing both our airline and travel agency customers with new data products, new services that allow them to better compete in a very hyper-competitive industry and market today. It's all about the data and being able to respond to those emerging, whatever's happening, quickly and with a fact-based, you know, background. ArcConnects is a portfolio that brings together our three primary reporting and settlement services. Right, for our airline and travel agency customers, it's about simplifying their operations. It's about improving consistency across channels. And for us, as ARC, it's about making sure that we're delivering the right products and the right services to the market that allow our airline and agency customers to transact however it is that they want to transact. The first, you know, component of that portfolio is ArcConnect's legacy. So that's really that's the services that we provide in support of GDS EDIFACT, reporting and settlement. We do that, again, on the behalf of 250 airlines globally. Last year, $100 billion in sales in the US. That's what we have been doing for the last 60 years, and that's that system. The other part of the portfolio is ArcConnect's NDC, right? So that supports offers-based reporting and settlement. We provide that service currently on the behalf of over 40 airlines globally are taking advantage of that. I talked earlier about how we're seeing continued growth in that portfolio in the US market. And then lastly, it's ArcConnect Orders. And that's really there to support the future evolution of airline distribution as airlines move away from P&Rs and tickets and adopt an orders-based fulfillment methodology. So it's a little bit about past, present, and future, if you will. I've been with ARC for many, many, many years. I've seen lots of changes in the industry, so you really got to be prepared for whatever comes your way. But you know, I think about some of the things that we do best, and that's really bringing people together to solve a problem, right? We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years focused on how do we enable NDC growth within the corporate travel community. We've done that through what we call our NDC Advancement Working Group, where we bring airlines, agencies, technology providers together, because nothing's going to work if the ecosystem isn't aligned and isn't all pulling in the same direction, right? We've done the same thing more recently for orders as we stood up actually the world's first orders-based reporting and settlement system at the beginning of this year. We worked again with airlines, travel agencies, and technology providers to bring to market a system that was going to be scalable and would work for the needs of the US market. And it's probably a little fact, ARC was the first to introduce GDS-based, the EDIFACT reporting and settlement system. So we run and are custodians of the very first reporting and settlement system in the world as well on that front. So a lot of firsts, But again, nothing works if you don't bring everybody together and have that conversation. We can carry on the conversation. Dig into the bag of tricks here. So what was your first job in hospitality or the travel industry in my case? And how did it prepare you for your role today? Well, actually, I had jobs in both. My first job actually in travel was I smashed bags for Piedmont Airlines. So I was a station agent, loaded airplanes, loaded money. Coins were the worst into the belly of aircraft. But that's really, I also grew up in the industry, but that's really what kind of solidified and got the jet fuel going in my veins and in my blood, and I've just been addicted to this industry ever since.